you dummy. How would you not know that they're literally obsessed with you? His favorite color is red because he likes the color of blood. Literally screamed. I went, ah! Like that. Ah, chef's kiss. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over all of the books that I read in the month of May. I am warning you right now, it is not that impressive of a list. This month has been really chaotic. I've been traveling probably like the majority of the month, and I was only able to read 5 books. 4 of them were physical and 1 of them was an audiobook. And I'm actually still technically in the middle of one of these books, so it has been a really slow, unproductive reading month for me. But that's okay because I have high hopes for the month of June. But without further ado, let's get into the books I read for the month of May. Because I do have 2 5-star books in this stack. Lately I've been feeling like reading has like become this kind of like chore. I don't really want to do it. I have to schedule it in. I'm not really interested in anything that I'm reading. But also at the same time, once I get into the book, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. I feel like it's just kind of like an executive dysfunction thing going on where it's like starting is really hard, but then once I'm in it and I'm reading, I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is great. I don't know why this was so hard to like start, but like that's probably an ADHD thing or something. I don't know. I really don't. These are all of the books that I read in the month of May, starting off strong with The Second Death of Locke. Oh, my reading order for this month is kind of all jumbled up. I started this at the beginning of the month, then I went on vacation, read 2 other books, and then I picked this up once I got back home. I don't know really why I did it that way, but I'm kind of glad that I did because this book was definitely 5 stars, and I'm glad that I was able to like dedicate my entire focus to this book when I was reading it instead of when I was on vacation, because I have no criticism about this book. This is a 5-star book for me. Oh my god, like whatever, whoever, whenever. So basically the premise of the book is 2 childhood best friends are magically bonded together. He is the mage and she's his knight, but also there's a catch where she, as the knight, is also this well of power. They call them wells, and she has like this power within, but he is the one who can draw on that power and practice magic. They're both in the military fighting to bring back this long lost Isle of Locke, which is basically like the source of the power that the hands or like the wells can draw from. Something happened in the past. Nobody knows really what happened to make the Isle like disappear, but basically that's why they're fighting to like try to figure out how to bring it back or like bring back more power or whatever, because throughout the land then the wells are like waning, if that makes sense. I honestly don't know if I can tell you much more than that without spoiling it, but I mean, the setup alone for the magic system and like the world building is so good. I loved it so much. It's so angsty. The relationship between the 2 main characters in this book is literally like ride or die. They are literally so down bad for each other that they are literally like sacrificing left and right. Every other page is like, oh, I must do this for the other person because I love them so much, but I don't know how they feel about me, so I'm insecure about it. But then also it's like, you dummy, how would you not know that they're literally obsessed with you on both sides? I'm like, these 2 people? Oh my gosh. One of the main reasons why I love this book so much is because there is such a good balance between the romance and the fantasy and like the world building of this book. There was no lacking in either department for me. It was literally 50-50 the entire book, and it was just, chef's kiss. This is one of the books that I would just love to like dive into, you know what I mean? Definitely is like the epitome of like love and self-sacrifice, the one you're so down bad for that you will literally do anything for the other person. Also, can we talk about the cover art of this thing? Like, I swear this is one of the prettiest books that I own. The art to me is everything. I mean, just look how stunning she is. And also, if you didn't know, this book is actually a part of a interconnected standalone series. It's called the Hand and the Heart series. The second book is supposed to be coming out this year in September. It's called The Chief and the Traitor Bride, and the cover for that book is so freaking stunning. Like the covers, the art for these books, I mean, there's something about an olden day nostalgic 90s fantasy night era vibe that I just really dig. I feel like some fantasy you read and you're just like, I feel like I'm home. I feel like I've gone back to my roots, and this book was that. Definitely rated this 5 stars. So that's the first slash middle book that I read for the month of May. Continuing on, this is the one audiobook that I read this month. It was a quick, fast, fun, easy little audiobook, and I just wanted something to like listen to while I was doing laundry. And that book was The Starter X by Mia Sosa. I just listened to it on Audible. So basically this book follows our main character, Vanessa. She's a Puerto Rican based in New York, grew up in New York. In her college days, she ran this business where she would basically be the starter X. So basically she would have clients come to her and hire her to date the person that they were interested in, and basically she would be like a terrible girlfriend. She would like be like the epitome of like the worst girlfriend ever, so that then when they eventually broke up, then they would be interested in her client, because during the time that they were dating she would like subtly set them up and like hint to them that like, oh, she's much better than I am, so that by the time they broke up, then the male love interest would be interested in her client, if that makes sense. I don't know, it was quite a fantastical premise, but I loved it a lot. It was really giving me like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Day vibes, and I ate it up. It was so fun. It was such a fun read. Basically, she did this in college and then kind of let it go for a little bit. And now, present day, she's trying to reconnect with her little sister, and her little sister find out what she used to do as like a side hustle in college. And so now her sister is asking her to hire her as a client so that she can win this guy that she's been obsessed with for a long time. But the catch is she accidentally ends up falling in love with her sister's love interest, who she hired her for. Even though like a part of this book is like based off like deception and lies, I've literally never read a more healthy communication trope in my life. Like, this is the antithesis of like the miscommunication trope. There is no miscommunication. Miscommunication who? Not them. Not them at all, even though she is lying to his face. I don't know. Like, it's so like, obviously it starts off toxic, but also at the same time, they're such a healthy, well-adjusted couple, like from the very beginning. He's so respectful towards women. He's literally the most feminist MMC that I've ever met. Well, I haven't met him, but I would love to, honestly. I rated this book 5 stars, absolutely loved it. I will be picking up more of Mia Sosa, because tell me why I've never heard of her, never read anything of her besides this. Now I need to. Now I will. So, yes. The next series that I read for the month of May is a very infamous dark romance series. You've probably heard of it by now, and if you don't, you definitely live under a rock. The Cat and Mouse Duet series. I was going through my list of potential books that I could bring with me on vacation, and I was like, you know what? What better book series to bring on vacation? Family vacation, mind you, than The Cat and Mouse Duet. Needless to say, I did have to withhold a lot of information about what exactly I was reading. Still vacation though, and I wanted to have a fun time, and I knew that vacation would kind of like take away from like the dark atmosphere of these books. I honestly think it was the perfect time to read these. These books basically follow a girl named Adeline, who is an author. The book starts off with her holding like a book signing event when Zayd Meadows is walking by, sees her, and instantly becomes obsessed and becomes her stalker. Obviously, we can see where that goes. Everybody has probably already been spoiled about like the storyline of this book, but the 2 things that I didn't know about this book is that it actually does have really good plot. It has 2 really good plot lines. Adeline moves into her grandmother's mansion and is basically trying to figure out what happened to her great-grandmother, because she finds out that she was murdered, and so she's trying to figure out what happened there. But also Zayd's point of view and his storyline is that he is basically like a anti-human trafficker, so he basically tracks down traffickers and takes them out and like frees people who have been trafficked. And he like has this like mysterious company that he runs that is like dedicated to freeing people who have been trafficked. Because of that, this book obviously has a lot of trigger warnings. I would say the 2 most infamous trigger warnings would be the non-con scenes and the essay scenes. Definitely makes sense why they market this as a dark romance, because it is definitely not for everyone, and the people that it is for, you still kind of have to be in the right mindset to read this kind of book. I actually really did enjoy the plot and the characters. I do recommend this book series because it kind of gives you a feel for everything you're ever gonna get in a dark romance book. I know a lot of people be like, no, work up to it, but if you want to know what dark romance is about, this duology is where it's at. Just read this and you will never have to read another dark romance ever again, because this is the blueprint, I feel. A lot of really good spicy scenes. I think I enjoyed almost every single spicy scene, because you know how like you're reading like a series, it's like really spicy and you like start to get phased out about the spicy scenes because you're like, oh, okay, like sure, like that's enough. I honestly really enjoyed every single scene and I didn't really get sick of it. It wasn't overdone, but it wasn't like neglected either, if that makes sense. I'm still recovering from the second book. I honestly don't know how somebody could recover from what Adeline went through, but it also makes sense why the kind of person like Zaid would be able to help her through that, even though he himself is quite a dark, morally gray character. I honestly found Adeline to be a very relatable character, even down to like the freckle detail. I just loved her. I related to her quite a bit. I feel like some of us are just kind of pulled towards the dark. We're intrigued by the dark side of life, and whether that's from trauma or just the way that you're wired, it really shouldn't be something that you're embarrassed by, but it also shouldn't be something that you indulge in real life, hence fiction. I rated the first book 5 stars and the second book 4.5 stars. Yes, I am knocking off a point for 2 months later. If you know, you know. That was absolutely diabolical. And the last book, which I am currently on reading, supposed to be finishing today, is God of Malice by Rina Ken. This is also another dark romance. My little sister, of all people, recommended this book series to me, and guys, when I tell you the opening scene for this book, my jaw on the floor. Absolutely. I was catching so many flies with the first scene of this book. Holy smokes. Holy smoke! This is the first book in a 6-book series called The Legacy of Gods by Rina Ken. It's also part of like a much bigger like Rina Ken universe. Apparently she has like a whole ton of dark romance books already published, but this is the first book that I have picked up by her. This book is based in like a college setting. There's the King's University and Royal Elite Academy, I believe, and basically they're like rival schools, and they're like connected to like gangs and like the mafia and stuff like that. I'm not really too sure on like all the details yet. I kind of feel like I just like jumped into like right in the middle of the Rina Kent universe, so I'm like kind of like keep my head above water about all the information about all this stuff and like all the people and everything. Essentially it follows our 2 main characters, Killian, who is like a high functioning like psychopath, and Glyndon, who is the daughter of like the infamous family, the Kings, and she's like the perfect girl. Like she's like prim and proper and English, and she's like a good girl, and he's like the bad boy, but he's also like psychopathically not okay. His favorite color is red because he likes the color of blood, and he also joined medical school so that he can see the insides of people without having to like harm them. So yeah, he's a little unhinged, but he finds that after he meets Glyndon, that his urges, his psychopathic tendencies are like, they're here, but then they're here when he's with Glyndon. Glyndon is an art student who has like a cloudy kind of past. Something traumatic happened to like her best friend, and she's like really affected by it now, and she's also trying to find out what happened with her best friend. She knows that Killian had something to do with it, but she's not quite sure. But basically that's where I'm at in the book right now. I have like this much to finish tonight. I really like the premise of the book, but the only thing for me is like the writing style, and like the dialogue is kind of throwing me off a little, because it's kind of frustrating how like unrealistic and cringy some of the things that the characters say, and it really pulls me out of the book. I'm like, okay, nobody would say that in real life. Even Killian, like, I feel like we're trying so hard to make Killian have like a dirty mouth, but it only ever comes off of just strictly predatory and creepy and weird. But also at the same time, he is a psychopath, so it kind of makes sense. It's just not very well done, and he talks to her in a very vulgar way, but there's no charisma, so it doesn't make it okay, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't really like Killian that much. I mean, he's supposed to be like this sexy bad boy psychopath. But but he's not really charismatic or anything. He's just angry and violent, and it's like, okay, so what do you have to offer Glendon? You know what I mean? You have to have a balance of some kind, and I'm not really sure how to put that into words, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, because I'm not very good at this. Anyways, that was the biggest thing that I struggled with. I was going to give it 2.5 stars, but I did bump it up to 3 just for the fact that that opening scene was actually jaw-dropping. I was out on a walk and I literally screamed. I went, ah! Like that. It was a good opening scene. Needless to say, it was good. But then it kind of just went a little bit downhill from there. But I did decide to just like stop judging the dialogue and like that aspect of the book, and just like get into like the plot and like what the gist of the book was. And I have been enjoying it. It's not the best dark romance I've ever read. The writing really isn't that great, but I'm still liking it, so I am going to be rating this 3 stars. If anything changes towards the ending, I will update you guys, but that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, those are all the books I read for the month of May. I'm hoping next month is better. Reading to me this month kind of felt like a chore. I was in a bit of a slump. But I also feel like that's because I'm not really going about this with a plan. I do plan on trying to like build my channel to where it's like, you know, a channel somebody wants to watch. So I feel like I have to like go into it with a plan, and I haven't had a plan so far. But next month I'm so excited because I will be. I literally spent yesterday planning out my entire itinerary for the month of June for like all of my booktube stuff, and I'm really excited. I have a really fun YouTube video coming up about my June TBR, so go to the next video for that. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. If you want to see more from me, which I don't blame you if you don't, because this is cringy starting on the internet. No experience, nothing. But that's okay. If you are interested in seeing more from me though, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and check out my next reads for the month of June. Thanks for watching. Bye.